Perfect. Well, let's see what we can destroy tonight. I have been struck with the curse of the live streamer for several days now, and against my better judgment, I'm deciding that we gotta get moving on this quad build and actually get some stuff hooked up. And we're gonna see whether I can continue the trend of things absolutely going sideways on me yet again for a third night in a row. It's funny, even yesterday my run cam 2 decided to crap the bed on me and completely quit working. But on a plus note, got a hold of run cam. I sent them their support a mail yesterday. I bought this thing May 9th, but I bought it from Amazon, so it's just out of warranty. And they were really awesome. They said, yeah, you checked it out, you know what you're doing, it's the SD card slot, as you say. I suspect they already knew that. And they said they will send me, well, they'll give you a coupon code for a new board, and then you install the board yourself. So I said, okie dokie, I will take that. That's better than nothing. Cheers, Armando. Glad to see you. Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. So I think we'll start with getting an idea of how this board, this is the flight controller. This is the Betaflight F3 flight controller, which supersedes the Seriously Pro or clone SP F3s. And it's got all kinds of cool stuff on board. This has on-screen display on board, current measurement, you name it. But tonight, in prep for this, I went on the RC groups thread, and I'm actually finding, man, oh man, there's a lot of gripes with these flight controllers. Not a lot of luck with them, particularly with the area of the UBEC that's on board. The 5-volt regulator apparently is quite weak. They advertise it at 3 amps, but the board is already using an amp, and people are saying there's no way that you can run any more than an amp on it, or well, even less than that is what some people are saying. Otherwise, it's just failing. And sure enough, there's all kinds of people saying the ramps pin, or the RAM, I guess it's RAM pin, the regulator pin is really dying out on them, just burning up. So I don't think we'll use that on this board. Benjamin's here, cheers, and Swazi, cheers, Swazi, welcome to your first stream. Well, stick around for a few minutes. If this is like any other stream lately, the curse of the live streamer will strike, and I'll be lucky if I don't light my house on fire with the luck I've been having. Everything I touch lately has just been bad news bears. Last night's broadcast, I was live for a little bit, and I screwed up so bad, and it was entirely my fault. It was just being live and not paying attention. So I actually took that broadcast down because there's 2 cases right near the beginning of it. If someone somewhere was to see it and duplicate it, they were going to cook some equipment. So just like I did. What did I fry the night before? Something went sideways the night before too. Other than my run cam quitting. And there was something else. I can't even remember. Jay's here. Cheers, Jay. Alright, let's get the soldering iron warming up. We will use, as always, my trusty WEP. Actually, I think I'll fire up the Unger as well, because I think we're going to need it. This board has a lot of ground plane, so I think we're going to need some heat. And the WEP does a good job, but the Unger's got more punch. And, well, let's just see. So I'm gonna get this. Something bad's gonna happen here. I know it. I just know it. Alright, so this is gonna be the back of the board. Our main connection leads. This is the top of the board because we need access to this nifty little button up here, our bootloader button. We need to be able to press that in the quad. So we gotta solder everything on the bottom first. That is our main ESC connections, our main positive wire from the battery, which I should get out right now. Yes, let's get that out. Let's track that down. And I think we'll put our data bus wires for our receiver on. And this ought to do the trick. I think this looks like it's only about 14 gauge, so it's not the best, but it will do the job. This is what I'm running on my other 210 without issues. Yeah, it's 14 gauge, but it's good. Nice silicone wire, so we'll use it. I can't remember. Did I shorten the other one? No, full length. This is going to go up and around the back of the quad and come around to the top where our LiPo is going to sit. So full length I think will be fine. If we can't manage it, then I'll have to shorten it later. Yeah, but I think full length should be all right. Get yourself one of these assortments. If you're getting into quads, just go on eBay and pick these up. These things you can buy for like $2 on eBay. Well, yeah, I think I paid about $2.50 for them out of China, and I bought 3 of them. Fantastic. Always need standoffs on some project or another, especially Arduino and Raspberry Pi projects. Like if you're working with the Pi Zero, it's so handy to have those, to have the standoffs so you can set up a project. Paul's here. Cheers, buddy. We got a celebrity in the room. Guys, this is a BMS Web in the chat is a notorious, a very well-known drone enthusiast with his son Thomas, who is now, what's Thomas's title now, Paul? And say hi to him for me. What's his official title? World Champion? I know he's been doing really good lately. Alright, I think what we'll do, seeing as how these leads come through and through hole, we'll go ahead and put them in and solder them in the bottom. Don't solder to these terminals just to the top. They're holes for a reason. It drives me nuts when people don't put the wires through. Just can't understand that. It drives me bloody bonkers. He's Australian national champ for 2 years running. Awesome stuff. If I didn't say it before, congrats, Paul. And obviously Thomas, if you're around. That is so awesome. Guys, you got to actually check out Paul's channel. If you're new here and haven't heard me preach this before, when Paul has dropped around, click his name and check out his channel, because you guys got to see. You gotta see the flight videos on that channel. It's just nutty. Absolutely nutty. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera. This is the problem with streaming too, is getting everything on camera. So we're just gonna strip these back. This is just a standard servo lead. It plugs right into my FlySky receivers. We're just gonna strip it back, tin it, and then we will put it into the board first, because this is going to flop around. It won't get in our way. It's easy to manage. Once we solder these larger ESC wires, which we have to do first because they're on the bottom of the flight control, it's going to be a lot harder to wrangle and manage. So we'll go ahead and just do these first. I think that's the plan until something explodes, like the last 3 days. I'd be absolutely shocked if something doesn't go horribly wrong tonight. Where's my splat pad? Where did it go? Missing my little... Oh, it's already. I already got it down there. Thanks, Paul. I'm glad you liked. I'm loving this build, even though this is nothing the caliber of what you guys play with for quads. This is just a GB210 frame, but it's, to me, it's a rock star. I'm loving it. I love my other 210, so I'm still learning to fly a lot. My flight skills have got a long way to go. You guys will see a flight video go live. I edited it last night, and I got that other 210 out, and man, it's fast. Is it ever a riot to fly? I didn't capture a lot of good video of it, because I only did one flight, so that's when I got the run cam all set up to go out again, and well, that's when the run cam shit the bed on me and died, so that sucked. Alright, can we work this around the camera? Yes, I believe we can. So we're just going to tin these wires just a little bit because we can't have much on there because they're going to have to get through the flight control. So the other thing is funny, the silk screen's on the wrong side. If anybody, Boris or anybody ever watches this by some miracle, please silk screen on both sides when you have all these terminals, because this sucks. But it's okay in this case because we're going to put the, actually, should we go down through or up through? If we go down through is going to be the prettiest. Yeah, let's go down through. That's going to look the classiest on the quad. And that's kind of what we're shooting for. So let's flip that around. Actually, let's put this in here. Bring them. Let's see if we can bring them up through and just sort of jam it. This is our, you guys can't see it real well on camera there. I should get a zooming one, but this is our UART2 connection. So it goes signal, then power, or VCC, and then ground. And I think my VCC might be a little big to fit through. Nope, perfect. And you just want to stick that wire up through and then wedge it with something. And probably wedge it with quad, or what have I got here? Or we can just do this. And then we can solder it. And then that'll be nice and pretty on the top side. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. They're all the same. It's just pure fun. I couldn't agree more. Well, you guys play with some kind of a lot more advanced equipment than I do, but I get by. I definitely get by. Alrighty, let's go. I should have taken a little bit of alcohol to that pad first, because I don't know whether there's anything on this board. And there was. What's going on here? Oh, the solder is just wicking through to the far side of the board a lot more than what I expected. That's okay. I don't need that big stupid clamp no more. Yeah, there's some contamination on there. That's alright. Let's just get a little bit more flux from a bigger chunk of solder. Call the big boy in here. This is just a different brand of solder that seems to be a little better when you've got stubborn shit. Alright. Now, did we do it correctly? That's the top side, so wires terminate right at the PCB, no extra, nothing hanging out. And did we do it right? Signal, S-bus, 5 volt, then ground. Perfect. I'll go ahead and trim these off. I know this is going to seem really anal, but I will touch these again now that I've trimmed them up. Maybe I won't. Yes, I will. No, I won't. They're fine. They're pretty good. Good. Moving on. Ooh, it's hot down here tonight. I need a drink. Okie dokie. So the other pins that are going to have to go through are our video pins, and these are these ones across the top here. And what I'm thinking, this is where it would be nice to have it silkscreen, but because I'm going to run VBAT, I'm not going to use the regulator. So we're going to go ahead and jump these. We've got to set the jumpers, which you can't see. Let's see if I can fix that. Oof. What are you pointing at? Ah, there we go. Everything's backwards on camera. There's those solder joints I just did. Yeah. Oh, there's the jumpers. So, right in the center of the screen, you can see VBAT, RAM, and 5 volt, and then 3 volt, and then 5 volt. So we're going to jumper the VBAT to the RAM, so that the RAM pin is going to be fed with LiPo power, and we're going to run our video transmitter and our camera off of that, so we're not stressing, we're not relying on the UBEC on board at all. We are relying on the traces on the board though, so I hope they are capable. And then on the other one, we're going to jumper the 5 volt over, because I'm going to use a FlySky receiver on this, and it runs on 5 volt. So handy dandy. And there. So let's do that now. Let's use the auger for that. It's got a finer tip. I'll jumper those. I should use my microscope for this, but I won't. So, crap, maybe I should. I already couldn't read it that far away. It's pretty tiny. I might switch to my other tip. Oh man, that's ugly. That's one hell of a jumper. There, that's better. And we need the top one on the next one. Oof, tiny fiddly stuff. And I can tell they used lead-free solder on there, so I have to invade it with some rosin core, or some leaded solder, I should say. And then we're good. I think we're awesome there. Now, let's have a look. How do we do? And that's impossible. Here. Yeah. I need to, let me try something. I wonder if I reorient my microscope. Will right be right and left be left? No, it's backwards, so let's reorient it this way. Will right be right and left be left? So that I can do this easier. I'm still learning to do this on the stream. Alright, so now it's just a matter of zoom level. Let's go ahead and fix that up. Oh, that's all the way. Damn. Poopy. These aren't the best little microscopes, but in this case it'll do the job. If we could move back a little further and stay on the bench. How about, let's try something else. Half the stream is spent learning how to use a camera. No, this is not going to work because it'll be way too shaky. Well, you get the idea. There's the jumpers in the middle of the screen. I'll do something better. I'm going to make up a mount and have that camera, the microscope, directly overhead. That'd be a lot nicer. I just got my first pie in the mail today. Any advice for a beginner? Yep. Google. Google is your friend. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff on, I wouldn't even really Google it, to be honest, just YouTube. There's so much good information on YouTube. But yeah, just to get started, go to, just Google Raspberry Pi Noobs, N-O-O-B-S. Go ahead and install it on the SD card, plug it in, and configure it. And you'll be away to the races in no time flat. So I think what I'll do, I think I will use a pin header on these video terminals, and then we can solder them later at our leisure and trim them off. So let's go ahead and do that. These are just standard pin headers. You should have some of these if you're into Arduinos and Pis and stuff. Just standard pin pitch, 0.1 I guess it is. And then we'll solder that in like so, and then we'll be good. Then when we put this face down in the quad, we will never need to access this backside ever again. This time, let's not make that mistake again. Let's clean this board. A little bit of alcohol. There's some kind of contamination on there because I could tell the way the solder was taking. So we'll just take our trusty little alcohol pump. We'll go ahead and just clean those up a little bit. And we'll do the rest of the terminals here too, because we're going to be shortly soldering to them. I don't think there's any contamination on them. They seem to look pretty, but could be. Yeah, there's some goopies coming off on the Q-tip. So let's go ahead and do both sides while we're doing it. Fingerprint cookies don't really seem to bother solder too much, but whatever's on here, there's all kinds of stuff that things get exposed to during the manufacturing process. Sometimes machines in the lab or in the shipping or in the room or whatever can get oil on them and crap. And a little alcohol does wonders. Alright, let's go ahead. What side's what? Dish side down. I'll go ahead and solder these to the correct end. We'll just set a pair of pliers on there, which is off camera and you can't see it, but let's see. Let's try. I'm stubborn like this. Stubborn, I say. Too far. Too close. Ooh, that's better. No. Let's see. There's the pins. Almost. Ah, look at that. I can do this. Now immediately my soldering iron is going to be in the way when I go to solder those, but oh well, so be it. So be it. Hello from Las Vegas. Well, hello from southwestern Ontario, Las Vegas. Hope the weather's not a heat wave there. Understand you guys have had some warm weather. I also had, was it DEF CON this week? Of course, way too much on the iron, but that's okay. Come on, get up there. So this is a double-sided board, so you're gonna have some solder go down through because there's pads on both sides, so you have to use a little bit more than what you anticipate every time, but that's what they look like when we're done. The microscope makes it look like it's a little bit funny on the one side, but I assure you those are, let me look at my screen. Yeah, it does make it look that, maybe it isn't making it look like that. Maybe that center joint could be a little better. It should be a nice little volcano look stretching up the pin. I can tell you the comments online about this board being difficult to solder because of the vias and stuff are true. It is a little grumpy. Oh no, we're good. Beauty. That was all good. Just one little blob on the, what is that next terminal used for? The next terminal is used for software serial TX, and we're not going to use that. There's just, I touched it with my iron, and there's a tiny bit of solder in the hole, but we're not using that. We don't need that hole cleared out, so we're just going to leave it alone. Perfect. I live in Brazil. From 5 years ago, I worked as translator for a bunch of Canadians who live in London and Kitchener. Yep. London and Kitchener, just up the road from me. The Hacksmith, very popular YouTube channel, is in Kitchener. I've been down to tour his shop a couple years ago, and yeah, it's about an hour from here. Not far. Canadians are cool. Well, we try. Alright, let's move on to something else. We haven't blown anything up yet, which is a small miracle. I haven't destroyed anything, because I expected to be dripping big blobs of solder down on that board, and getting pins. What the? Those are crooked as hell. That header's crooked. Not so crooked now. It's alright, we're going to be trimming the pins off nearly flush anyway, so it truly doesn't matter. We're going to be trimming them off right down low to the board. We're just going to use them to solder to. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll take that little black isolator, pin separator right off. It'll just slide off, and then we can solder right down on the pins, and it'll be much easier, because we got to put, like I mentioned before, or maybe didn't, we got to put 2 wires each on 2 of those pins, because you don't want your video transmitter and your camera to be on separate places on the board if you're feeding them the same power, in this case we are. You're feeding them both LiPo power. You want them to be fed from the same point on the board. Otherwise, you'll run into ground bias issues. You'll have a different potential difference to reference voltage or ground going to your camera and your VTX, and that causes all kinds of grief and manifests as video troubles. Lots of nasty stuff that we don't want. So, alright, so this is the back of the board, front of the quad. Now we start the hard part. Routing ESC wires. How do we want to route them? Let's just get these the heck out of the way. To start, we'll just concentrate on the front, I think. And if we leave enough slack, you want to cut as much wire off to save weight as you can and make it look kind of pretty. So what I'm thinking is I'll just come directly in with these front 2. Come directly in onto the board. We'll solder them up, and then what I can do is if we come directly in, then we can only flip backwards, and then we need to leave way too much from the back side. That would be annoying. So I think what we'll do is have enough, we'll solder enough that we can flip the board over this way. This is the trick to building a quad, is really just take some time. In my experience, I don't know, I'm not a pro here, Paul can speak up, but thinking ahead, because you will have to service this. So if we solder the wires where it's just a bear to get at them, and you can't flip this over and service the bottom of the board, solder speed control on later when one goes bad, it's just no fun. So a little bit of forethought here will go a long way, and I think what we'll do is we'll just plan to flip this. Yeah, we'll just plan to flip it like that. And I think let's go one step further. Oh, I got an idea. This will be slick. I learn every time I do this. Let's go ahead, take a stand off, and we'll just thread it in, and then our flight control isn't going to be bouncing around on us. How handy. And then we'll just go ahead, the signal wires go to the top side, so we don't need to worry about those right now, but we'll go ahead and do the bottoms here. And we're going to want this one to this side. Have we got enough room under here to roll them over? No, we don't. Crud. Yeah, maybe that's a little aggressive. If we do that length, I don't want to have these wires all fugly when we're done. If we do that length, and then when we flip the board back over, how much excess is there going to be? Quite a bit, but not horrible. That's manageable. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we'll bother. Let's just eyeball it. Let's eyeball it to the right length where we know we can flip it over. Done. Cut. And then the choice is made. Sweet. Or not, as the case may be, momentarily. So many things I wouldn't have thought of. Awesome, John. The planning takes more time than the actual building. Haha, I'm not alone. So I wasn't even going to stream this, because honestly, half of what I do at this stage of the quad is routing wires and rerouting them a dozen freaking times. It's like watching paint dry, to be honest, but I was thinking just maybe there'll be something of value to someone. And that's why I decided to go ahead and stream this. But honestly, it is just routing and rerouting and routing and rerouting. Get yourselves a really hot iron for working with quads too, guys, because these wires are going to flow pretty near 30 amps. Well, they're going to flow 20 some odd anyway. So let's go ahead and tin the PDB now. Let's do it now. And we don't have to worry about it later. This part is interesting. We all go through exactly the same thing. Thomas and I argue about routing wires. That's awesome. I'm so glad I'm not alone, because honestly, I really didn't watch a lot of tutorials and stuff when I started building quads. I really did just kind of jump right in. So I maybe didn't learn as much as I should. I learned how not to do it on my first quad. I did a QAV 250 and holy crap, was it fugly. What is closest to the camera? Is it that one? Yeah, let's do him first. So you want to get the pad good and hot. We want to see, oop, not that. We want to see the solder. Oh, they aren't kidding. They said it was the negative side that was problematic because of the ground plane. I can tell you by the way that that's pooling. So yeah, the positive side is fine. The negative side is quite difficult to heat. Oh wow, does that ever pull the heat from the iron away? I got way too much solder on there. Come on. Get off of there. Yeah. That'll be all right. There we go. That's what we're shooting for. That's maybe still a little much solder on there, but not too bad. And the positive terminal should be fine because they're not tied to the massive ground grid. And sure enough, that takes just perfectly first try. So, yeah, interesting. This is definitely what people saw on the forums as well. Close enough. I don't know whether I'll ever get good enough to get these in the center of the screen for you guys. And then we'll let the negative one get hot a little longer. They even talked about preheating the board with a hot air rework because the negatives were so hard to solder. This iron is bloody freaking hot, so we're all right, but I see why. Very interesting. I'm coming in over the board with the iron just because of the camera. It's making this a little tricky. You can see on the overhead shot how I gotta solder this. It's just a nightmare. All the things we do for the YouTubes. My cord isn't long enough. And then the positive takes just fine. Positive takes like instantly, but the negative side, whoa, yeah, that takes lots of heat. Alright, at least tinned. Those be ready. Should we do the top side while we're at it? No. Let's leave the top. Let's let that cool down a little bit because I'm going to burn my bloody fingers. It's hot now. We are very hot. And actually, when things get that hot, with the amount of heat I had to apply to that, you got to be just a little bit careful and not smack it around like I just did, because some of the surface mount components, ouch! That's freaking hot. Some of the surface mount components actually might have become molten and they can fall off. Another drawback. Things to be careful of. Oh, cool. Alright. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okie dokie. Back to the task at hand. Youch, that's still hot. I'm just gonna let... It's not so hot it's burning me now. I'm just gonna cool that off just a touch. We're only gonna be doing one at a time now. We don't need the whole thing that hot. Alright, let's have a look. Where's we at? Wire routing. Wire routing. Paint drying. Alright, so we wanted this to the close side. Let's do it to the close side. I think I actually... That is too much wire. What was I thinking? Why was I thinking that? Why was I thinking that I wanted to go to the far side and cross them over? There might have been a reason for me thinking that. What was it? I don't know. But in this case, our wires are too long again. We don't need them that long. Let's take them back a bit more. Get out of my way, speed control. We need them back to pretty near there-ish. No, it doesn't seem like much, but the more you take off of here, the better it's going to look. I don't think there'll be any rotor riot guys looking at my quad build anytime soon, but you always want to be proud of what you made. And retend. Sweet. Now, of course, now that they's that short, it's a wrestling match to work with them, but it'll be alright. Alrighty, let's just bring it over here and stick that on there. And double check. Positive to the far side. Let's do him first. Am I on camera? Somewhat. Yeah, somewhat. Good enough, whatever. Positive, no problem. Beautiful joint. Negative, this one's going to be a lot harder because of this heat wicking issue. So I'm going to burn my finger, as I always do, because by the time that solder ball on the bottom gets molten, that wire is going to be awfully hot. And how'd we do? Not my best work, but definitely not my worst. Did we get it right? How's that gonna look? Sweet! When we mount our flight control, that wire is gonna have just a little bulge, which we can sort of massage the wire to deal with later. That'll be good. I do believe. Perhaps, maybe, almost. Alright, so this one, we want to do a little extra. Can we go underneath and back? That would be... No, there's an SD card slot in the way. It'd be nice that we have enough to at least make this thing vertical. So what happens if we cut them that long? What's this going to look like? The wires can double up and loop out. We've got plenty of room out the front there, so that'll be alright. That'll be alright. let's worry more about serviceability than everything looks at this stage. If we cut it there, can we still flip it? We sure can. Let's cut it there. We'll leave this one just a little longer. It won't be completely uniform side to side, but no one but me is going to care, truthfully. As long as I can flip this thing over to change an ESC later, I'll be happy. Hopefully I haven't had to change one ever, to be honest. But I do know the day is going to come. And I imagine it will come on this quad, because this quad is probably going to get the most use of anything in my fleet. And I'm getting slightly more aggressive in my piloting now as I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with flying. So, alright, should we do the nasty one first? Let's do the negative one first. I'd love to have this on the microscope for you guys, but it's just not going to work out. So what I do is I just stretch my solder out where I can get at it and clean the tip and tin and retrieve more solder if I need it on the fly here. Oof. That is brutal. That does wick every bit of heat away instantly. But there we go. We are soldered. Looks perfect. Well, not perfect, but plenty good enough in this case. That is bloody perfect. That is a beautiful solder joint. That'll do. Can we get those on camera for you guys? Maybe, just maybe. There you go. Well, here, I'll just hold it. And, oh yeah, if I turn the microscope this way, everything is right and wrong. So, focus isn't the best, but that's what they look like. That will do. That will do nicely. Again, not my best work, but sweet. Alright, so we'll leave the signal wires out of the way, so we're not going to need those anytime soon. Let's have a look, see whether this will still sit down in. There's a few little kinks in the silicone. We'll massage those out later and make it all nice and pretty. But this should get out of the way. That one can loop like so. And that will do. I would love to have them all underneath the flight control, but that's just not going to be the easiest method here. So I think that'll do nice. It's going to be pretty. She's going to be a pretty quad. Gotta try and do a half-decent job to go along with the work I did on the frame. Alright, so these ones go out the side. What's our easiest way to do that? We come in... Where's that the way it is? Can we come in from the back side and have room? We could go to longer standoffs if we have to. We come in from the back side. Yes, we can. If we come in from the back side and do the wires like that, we can still flip it over. Sweet. And that length looks to be just about right. And let's do the other one first, because that's on the bottom. This one's a lot easier because we don't need any length to flip the board up. Something. Oh yeah. No, we do have to come back from this side. It's going to come down from the top. So we're going to want to put a loop underneath. Otherwise, well, we could come in from the side. Ah, it's going to be ugly as snot. Let's not do that. let's come in. Man, oh man. I don't know why there's anyone still watching this live stream. This is like paint drying, this stuff. This is not the fun part of, well, it is kind of the fun part of building a quad. So let's just trim those back. I say about yay much. Hardly worth it, but I think it'll help in the, well, sheds a tiny bit of weight. Okie dokie. Positive first. Sure, why not? Positive first. And beauty. Youch, hot on the finger. Negative next. Come on board, get hot. That is ugly. That's better. Youch! Right about the time the fingers start to burn, you know it's good. Okie dokie. We're in good shape. That'll do. Next, one more. And then we's jiving. Oh, did I solder that to the wrong freaking side? I did too. See, I knew something was going to go south. That's on the wrong freaking side. Damn it. That negative is not going to want to come off. Knew something like that would happen. That's not so bad. If that's the worst thing that happens tonight, I'm doing good. Better than every other night this week. I knew something would screw up. That one isn't so bad. That's better. Good to go. And then we'll bring these around. Tin them. Same deal. Cross over. We'll be golden. Maybe, maybe. Actually, I think tomorrow night, if I get a spare minute, I'm going to try and set up the Raspberry Pi Zero, the one I got with the Pi Mag that you guys haven't seen yet, unless you watched my previous live streams. I'm going to try and set it up and start playing with the GPIO. And I haven't, like, I'm okay with Arduino stuff, but I have never tried using the I/O on a Pi yet. And I think it's high time that I do, because I have a couple of projects coming up that I would like to at least be semi-competent with it. So maybe tomorrow night I can get that set up, if I'm lucky. It doesn't take much to set up a Pi, but we just got to solder up the GPIO breadboard adapter. Youch, yow, 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 yow. That's better. Are we in the way of our SD card slot? Yes, we are. I think. No. No, we're good. It's fine. And there we go. Wish I had some tunes, but YouTube will give me troubles if I have tunes. There. See, the board was preheated now that I've been soldering on it for a bit, and those joints just go tickety-boo once it's up good and hot. So their idea of... I still soldered that the wrong Those wires just do not want to work in my brain. These backwards. Their polarity is right, but they're from the wrong side of the board. Again. Good. Good, good. Why do I smell something on my tip? So just, I don't know if you guys see me doing this, but I'm adding solder to the tip and then basically throwing it away to clean the tip and tin it properly so that you can just apply right to your joint, which both are tinned already. And then you don't have to add any solder to your joint, and it'll just flow in like so. And actually those are quite pretty. Those are the way they should look if they're done correctly. Alright, now we got two crissy crossies. Is there enough room underneath the board for it? Oh, there sure is. And that is what we were shooting for. We wanted to have the wires be able to go under the flight control, nothing out to the sides, except for this thing, which needs to be removed and put because it goes to the top. And just nice and pretty. That'll lay down just nice and be all nice and symmetrical, and we can tie it down and it won't look like spaghetti soup. Awesome. I think that's enough for this live stream, guys. I don't know how interesting watching this is, but I'm glad you guys could join. Gives me motivation to keep going, gives me somebody to talk to. I don't do these videos for the views. It's just cool to hang out with you guys and have fun. And oh yeah, that's gonna be a slick rig when we're done. That's gonna look classy once we do a little cable management on it and make it. I'll go ahead and solder these signal wires to the top. I may just do that. I'll do that later. I think I'll take a break for tonight. I'm beat. And we're gonna be in good shape. Glad you guys could join. It's awesome stuff. Glad to hang out with you guys. Talk to you soon. Cheers.